Hey kids, Top from Big Top Outdoors. Today we are going to make some charcuterie boards. I know that's a little bit outside of the norm. As you know, or may have heard me talk about in other videos, we're traveling for the holidays. We're going to go see my family, my siblings, my parents. It'll be fun. But as a surprise present for my siblings and my parents, I'm going to make each of them a charcuterie board. So I've got some pieces of sapele, some maple, some white oak, and we're going to mix and match things to get relatively even, flat, good-looking pieces of charcuterie board. Each one will be different, and again, I have a hodgepodge of leftover wood from other projects that we'll use for this. Like I said, I've got a hodgepodge of different pieces of wood. If you haven't seen sapele before, this is a really neat wood. It's what I made the wizard Stafford out of. This is an African wood. They nicknamed it the African mahogany. Beautiful wood, great grains. You could do some neat things, and then when you put either the finishing oil or just wood oil on it, it looks phenomenal. So, and then also got some maple here. We'll try to use some of this as well. They make a very good contrast to each other, so we'll play with different versions of these and see what we can get together. If anyone else is like me, I'm a bit of a visual learner. I like to lay things out and visualize the wood, how it'll look. So, and I like to lay it out in tape so that I can start piecing together what I'm making. And then we're going to go 18 inches long. And I'm not looking for this to be exact, I'm just looking for this to help me as far as a visualization. This is about 10 inches, so like for example, I could take that, I can still trim off the outsides, make it look good, and then I plane it till everything's smooth, throw in a couple different pieces. Here's the design for the first one, alternating white oak and that's sapele. So when it's all glued up and clamped together and one piece, then I'll plane it again to get it all completely smooth, the same level. Then I'll cut it completely to shape to make sure. So I'm cutting everything about 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch too long so that I can cut the edges. And then I'm not concerned about sections like this because when I plane it, it'll plane it completely smooth and flat. So that's number one out of the way. That will be pattern number 2. When I was cutting Stafford, my walking stick, I had this nice long thin piece and I looked in my pile and I happen to have one that matched these. So I just need to thin these down so that they're all the same width, thickness if you will. But this will be the other one. So this is pattern number 3. I kind of like it. It's a little trickier. My thought is I have these 2 boards that are basically big enough here. If I were to cut it and cut this one so that they're all squared off, I could have just 2 different halves that are not symmetrical. My thought though is if I cut through this and I push this over, I can add a little strip of this here, a little strip of that, so you'd have white, brown, white, brown. I think I'm going to try something like that. Let me go over to the table saw. So this is what I had in mind for the 4th pattern. Again, these 2 are relatively even in size. These 2 are the exact same in size, so it just alternates. So you'll have 2 stripes down the middle. So I thought that was kind of a different approach to it. Again, we'll set this aside and we'll get pattern number 5 done. The 5th pattern, I've got these 2 pieces that would cover it no problem whatsoever. So my thought is if I cut them all to the same size and then just cut these 2 down the middle, I can alternate them so you'll have white and white, brown and brown, and it'll just make just a quarter system. Figure I'll give that a try and we'll see how that goes. Because the way I made this, I know that if I cut it like the way that I did, this will be perfectly square. So I cut it in such a way that I have all these sides that are squared off to each other that are perfectly square. Every side is perfectly square. So now I know that this is square. I'll plane it down to the right thickness And then once I get it to the right thickness, I'll take my measurements and then we'll cut it in half and we'll do that. Now for this one. I know that one of these is already cut by the sawmill. So this side is already flat. So if I know that that's flat and cut straight, I can cut this one to it. Once I have that, I can then just keep rotating till I have all sides square. Because I built this so that it's completely squared. Again, perfectly square, perfectly square, perfectly square, perfectly square. Okay, this is what I had in mind for the fifth and final. The idea is, kind of a quartered pattern. I'll glue these sideways, make sure they're glued up, do the same thing the other direction, then I'll cut them to make sure that they're both flat, and then I'll glue them together and then do the final cut on the outside so everything will appear the same. But to make this process easier, I labeled it A1, A2, B1, B2. That way when I'm moving them aside and getting everything glued up, I know that these two are supposed to touch and those two are supposed to touch together. I've got these neat clamps here that'll help me. These are just from Harbor Freight. We'll separate these, glue up this side, and this side, and then we'll line them up, and then we'll clamp the crap out of these things to make sure that they're level. I just use my finger. I don't care if it spills over. Again, these are going to be cleaned up. Any excess can be wiped off and put on the next one. Make sure these are all lined up. And then you just start squeezing the crap out of it. And I'm not as concerned about any excess going over. I just wipe it off. I use a paper towel. I'm not concerned by this. Again, when glued up, I'll leave it for probably 2-3 hours. I still am doing some other chores around the house, so I'll just set this aside. I'll glue up the next one. I've got 4 of these clamps, so by the end of the day, I'll have it all completely glued up. It'll set in, and as a matter of fact, I'll take them in the house where it's warmer, and the heat inside will help these dry up pretty quickly. Here's glue up number 2. So this is the zebra pattern with sapele and white oak. I'll take these inside. The reason I keep saying inside because the current temperature is 45 degrees, and I'll let them dry up in the house, which is about 68, 70 degrees. Which are a little different. These are pipe clamps. I use these typically for bigger wood projects, but because this one is so wide, I wanted to be able to do it evenly. So that's pattern number 3. So this is A1 and A2 from before. I'll glue these up, we'll clamp these down. Once this dries, I'm going to leave this one overnight, and we'll come back tomorrow, and what I'll do is I'll cut these so that they're all straight, and then I'll do the same thing with the B side. And we will leave these overnight, let them dry. Now on to number 5. see you in the morning. This glued up nicely. I spared you the planing, so I went ahead and planed it so that it's smooth and flat. Cut the sides so that they're level. Then we're gonna glue this side, excuse me, I had it backwards. And then we'll clamp it together. And there's a slight ridge here, but again, we're gonna plane it one more time, but that's kind of the pattern idea. So I'll take this back inside and let it dry in the warmth. So, turned out pretty good. Again, these aren't exactly flat or level. This is what the backside looks like with the dry glue, but a couple passes with the planer and it'll be right as rain. So you can see it's rounded over. Still needs to be sanded, but it's getting there. With each one, I'm going to start with 120 grit on an orbital sander, and then I'll do 220. And then what I'll do after I do that is spray them and mist them, just wipe them down, let them dry. That's what's called raising the grain. So the grain will then stand back up, and then I'll do another round of 220. One down, 4 to go. I owe you an apology. I covered each of the boards with this Walrus Oil cutting board oil. This is not actual Walrus Oil, it's just the name of it. So what this does is it locks in. You use the cutting board oil, you spread it on, you leave it overnight, and then the next day you come back, wipe off any excess, and then I usually let it sit the rest of the day, and then the next evening I put on the wax, and then the same thing. You leave it for 24 hours, you wipe off any excess, and then they're good to use. So even though they're charcuterie boards, I still do the same process because this is food safe. And so if they put any meats, cheeses, things like that on the charcuterie boards, they'll be completely clean and safe. So I'll show you what they're like when I wipe all the excess oil off tomorrow. Now, what I'm gonna do is take a rag, in this case an old t-shirt, and I'm just gonna wipe off any excess oil. I left it for 2 days. So it's pretty much absorbed in, but you just wipe it down and make sure that there's any excess oil that'll come off on it. You'll find out real quick. You can actually see it. It doesn't show up on camera, but if you see it with light, you can see little reflections of where excess oil is. Make sure that you hit your edges as well. Now that this is done, next thing we're going to do is put on some of the Walrus Oil. This is great again for cutting boards, but this also makes it so that it's food safe. Everything's wiped down, there's no oil on it. We'll go ahead and add the wax. Same thing, old t-shirt rag. This is a different one. This is the one I'm wiping off any of the excess oils with. This other one is for the wax. I'm gonna apply wax to the whole thing, and then I'm gonna leave it for 24 to 48 hours, and then I'm gonna come back and wipe off any excess. And then after that, I'll apply the little rubber footing, and then these will be done. All right, we are now one more night forward. All the boards have had a chance to dry for 24 hours now. So we're gonna take another clean rag and we're gonna wipe off any excess wax. The next thing we're going to do is add feet to the bottom of these. So they will go into the bottom like this, and that sticks about 3/8 of an inch into the board. So I'm going to get my square, we're going to measure about an inch over and about an inch over so that they're all uniform in the corners. And we'll put one of these in all 4 corners. Now we have a completed charcuterie board, complete with feet so it doesn't slide. And then it's also high enough that you can now get your fingers under it very easily. Well, like I said, that was a bit outside the norm of what I normally do, hiking, camping, outdoors activities. This one is kind of getting out of the house though, so hopefully you enjoyed that. Again, these were just charcuterie boards for my siblings and my parents, and hopefully it's something you enjoyed. I enjoy making them. So we'll see you on the next one. Like, subscribe, share, appreciate you. Have a good one. Peace.